Alright, Olm turned 66. We finished research in Conjuration, level 7, so that means we can get Wraith Lords now. We've continued our summoning and arcane probing, some of which paid off. So this is actually 3 astral pearls, so one of these is a 2 pearl site, so that's excellent. And then, our other ones missed, as happens. And then we had some searches that missed, but then we found a copper cliff in Turtle Glades. So that's 2 gems, an earth gem and a fire gem, which is also excellent. So mixed results, but not bad. We also had a claim from Vanheim for a throne. Not sure what happened there. I don't think he's involved in any wars, but possibly I could have missed it. And then our war with Macon continues apace, and we caught a few battles in the Lanka War, and then we did end up bumping with So let's take a look. So we went in for, well, first, this was just a battle with our specter that just kind of grabbed whatever was in the lab, just some random stuff. Which, it shouldn't be too bad. This is just the province that revolted, the militia. And, even with this sort of questionable gear, just 1 horde of skeletons this time, which is good. Because I think his armor, significantly less encumbrance from that, right? Spellcasting fatigue much lower. So his overall fatigue still fairly high, but he's not asleep. And he has a little bit of cover. I don't think he'll really need it, but let's speed this up. It's just militia. Yeah, he mostly just scares them away with his fear aura. So, even, not the perfect specters with kind of random gear, if you're up against militia, well, you have a lot of options if you're up against militia. And then, so we had a battle. So we went in Talanka first. It's, random order. So it's possible that would have had to fight this. So we've got a mix of our raiders. We've got some axe warriors going in. And if that doesn't work out, we've got, this is the specter who's actually kitted out, properly. Maybe over-kitted. And we're up against some elephants. So I guess Talanka was just, this is an elephant province. Elephants are independents. I don't know if we've seen them yet this game. They're tramplers. They're size 6 tramplers. They have a lot of health. They have pretty low morale, and then when they rout, they'll trample your own guys if they get in the way. So they're, they're a mixed bag. But against the axe warriors, they just get chopped to bits mostly. But definitely, they can trample down, our size 2 humans pretty effectively. I think we lost maybe 1 or 2 squares there, so that's not great. But, our axe warriors were able to deal enough damage, and chop through their health pretty quickly. So I don't even think our specter gets into combat here, which is fine, because he definitely could get trampled by elephants. So, defense will help with trampling, and I think ethereal as well. So it's unlikely that he's going to get trampled by elephants, but better to risk the axe warriors because they're easier and cheaper to replace. So that went pretty well. Let's take a look. So we lost 4 axe warriors. That's fine. So I think this was an elephant province. Probably. I can't imagine where else he'd be getting them from. He probably just didn't have enough PD commitment to actually get any PD elephants. And then came in. So let's take a look. So this is probably those bog beasts. And I was wrong about that. So he didn't send in the bog beasts. I believe this is part of the force that was sieging that fort in the neighboring province. So these are the long dead. We've seen these guys before. I think mccone was using them quite a bit against Helheim, and Helheim was cleaning them up. But we are not elves. This is a lot of long dead, too. A lot of long dead horsemen. And he's dropping some strength of giants on them. Not a bad idea. Let's see. Because their strength is not great. So and they get a charge with their light lance, which they then continue to get to use, and they also get hoof attack. So you can see our axe warriors don't love that charge. Once the charge is absorbed, we do kind of better, but we're badly outnumbered at that point. And our specter just runs. This is an HP route. It's probably a good thing. Because he's good and all, but one of the main things is that he can drain life. That's gonna help prevent, because these guys, 32 protection is pretty good, but These guys will maybe not chip through. We'll see. Well, actually, we won't see. He maybe could have taken them, but it would have been dangerous because, you know, if they chip damage through, he's not going to be able to drain life because these guys, I believe, yeah, are inanimate. So he can't drain life from them. So it makes this combat a heck of a lot more dangerous. Also, they're not going to rout from his fear aura, right? So he would have to kill all of them. Now, they don't have a lot of health, but, I mean, he doesn't have an AoE attack, so, I mean, there's a lot of horsemen here. So probably a good thing that he ran. You know, it's not impossible that he could have come out on top, but it would have been pretty dicey. He does have the boots of quickness, so he has to attack more often, but yeah, it's a lot of long dead horsemen. With the strength boost, too. I don't know if that one guy... Yeah, okay. Only 17 with the strength boost, but, you know, with the pierce, it's going to go through armor a little more effectively. So anyway, we lose out. Our vulturing does not work. And let's see. Do we lose... But we don't lose our Spectre. He retreats successfully. So, not the end of the world. You know, that's kind of why the Axe Warriors were out in front. Maybe shouldn't have just committed the Spectral Mage at all, because he didn't really do anything. All we did was risk him in the retreat, because, you know, had him farther back because I didn't want to risk him, but it's like, well, he's so far back he didn't even participate, so why even send him in the first place? So, you know, you raid and you learn. So let's see. So that didn't work out. And then let's see. We had a battle on this fort, and this was Macon selling out, which I did not expect. This was just, I think this sorceress is trying to retreat. No, she is just trying to horror mark. So, yeah, I love this. This is a little bit of a middle finger. So I think he gets some of these banes maybe. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, these guys are horror marked now. Like, it's fine. Not the end of the world, but yeah, you know, he doesn't have a whole lot in this fort to spoil this battle. So anyway, I mean, you know, horror marking can just cause horrors to show up. Certainly if there's just like a super combatant or a thug that has locked down your fort, you know, just because you got ambushed, you know, you weren't expecting it or whatever. I mean, you know, occasionally, like, you'll just have, like, a single thug, like, locking your fort down that you can't really beat in, you know, open combat for whatever reason. You know, horror marking him a whole bunch is a thought. I don't know how efficient it is, but certainly if you make the horror mark nasty enough and it's not a super nasty thug, you know, horror could eat him. But I think that was, yeah, like I said, just a little bit of a middle finger, which I appreciate. But yeah, we are continuing to take his stuff, or at least attempting to. This is a raiding group that was not really properly scripted, but probably okay. Certainly, you know, Macon doesn't have any archers, luckily, so the fact that our warrior chief was out in front is okay. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff for these Axe Warriors, but they're good. So I think they will probably win this. Yeah, it's a little closer than you might like. So I believe this is one of Macon's fort provinces. So yeah, not terrible, but yeah, definitely a little dicey. But yeah, so we've locked down this other fort that was south of the river. So now I believe Macon is down to just their capital, unless they have some fort that we don't know about. It's possible. I don't think I've scouted quite all of his lands. And then we caught a battle in Lanka between and Lanka in this ongoing war. So let's take a look at this guy. And this is a golem. I'm not sure if we've seen any golems from yet. Certainly we've seen some from Helheim. And this golem is up against just sort of a random grab bag of Lankan stuff. So I think some of this is probably just monkey PD here, like these light Bandar archers, you know, who are okay. All right, they have pretty good strength, and you know, longbow has good range. So as archers go, not the worst. You know, just random undead, like some of these dispossessed spirits, some barbarians somehow. I'm not sure where you got them from. Some Marcata, you know, not that great. Some of these demon summons that are sacred, like these are pretty good. So, you know, he's definitely got some stuff in here that's dangerous. And then, yeah, this guy, I think, yeah, we've seen him before. Still with the dowsing rod. Not really sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess he just, he has been under attack by like, pretty much every turn. So maybe he just hasn't really had a chance to, swap gear out, or just doesn't have any other gear, or doesn't really care too much about this game anymore. Sometimes you're in multiple games or something, and you're like, yeah, this one's pretty much done. You maybe don't worry about min-maxing completely. I think these guys are blood summons. Don't think we've seen them before. Yeah, not too familiar with them. Decent skills, really low protection, decent hit points. Got some poison damage. I don't think the golem will care about that. Yeah, storm demon. Only one, but I mean, yeah, even one. And let's see. Let's take a look at this golem. Let's see what kind of kit he's running. Yeah, fairly standard kit, I think. Vine Shield and Frostbrand, like just classic, like chaff clearing combo. This skull cap for the teleport option to get him up to Astral 3, so you can just teleport in. Not really going to help him too much during combat, though it does, provide some protection. So, it is still a helmet. And then this marble armor is cool. Little pricey at 10, but it gives you stone skin. So, increases natural protection, and then also gives pretty good, just regular protection from the armor. It is fairly encumbering, but the golem is not really going to care about that, except, limited amount for spell casting. Boots of Quickness, pretty classic on, the no encumbrance guys. So you can just attack faster. A little bit of magic resistance, never hurts. And then, yeah, the Stone Bird, extra attacks. So, yeah, not a bad kit. No shock resistance, though. Yeah, just some fire resistance, which I'm not actually sure where that's coming from. The Frostbrand? No, that'd be cold resistance. Yeah, I don't actually know where that is coming from. Interesting. But yeah, so we'll see. This is a lot of stuff that he's got to go up against. So it looks like, he's going to do, Body Ethereal for that golem. Pretty standard. And then, yeah, I think that was a Divine Blessing. So all these sacreds got blessed. And I believe, Talanka has that Blood Bond and Regeneration. Pretty good, pretty scary. And he has enough sacreds here. Not a ton, but enough that, this golem has his work cut out for him. A little bit of imp spam. And then this guy's got his astral shield up. So anybody with a low MR, of course, is going to, like a goat. Random lone goat. I think you get those from events. It's just, once you get later into minions, you just sort of stack up some random stuff. And it's like, sure, why not? Send in the goats. You got to make up the numbers somehow. So, yeah, but you can see, the Vine Shield, doing work. There's a reason that, it's just standard. Looks like some more imp spam. Yeah, some of that lightning coming in now from that, from the lightning storm demon. There you go. And, the archers have moved nice and close. Yeah, so do we get a stun? Still no stun, though, so that's good. But he is definitely taking some damage from that lightning. I don't know if anybody else has managed to get a hit on him. And he's certainly, chewing his way through the chaff. More imp spam coming in, but, mostly just getting tangled up. Some undead Marcata, some live Marcata. Yeah, that Storm Demon. Man, those Storm Demons are good. Just the one. Pretty sure it's just the one, right? Yeah, just the one. Yeah, I think I'm not sure anybody else has gotten a hit in yet other than the Storm Demon. You can see, it's not going so hot right now for the golem. He's clearing everything else. I think if the Storm Demon wasn't here, I don't know if the Sacreds have quite gotten up yet. How many lightnings does he get? Okay, ammunition 10. Yeah, so yeah, and you see, his precision is pretty good, too, especially, because he's moved close here like this, The longer you have to go, the more, deviance you get for your shots, which is why, the archers move close, especially in situations like this where there's just a solitary unit. And, yeah, I think that was mostly... Let's take a look. Let's see here. Did anyone else get you, Golem? Man, it could be tough to, he did face a lot of attacks, and he did kill a lot of stuff, too. So he did get some hits, but, 0 points of damage. His protection was pretty good. So anyway, I'm not going to run through all that, but yeah, Storm Demon is definitely what killed him. Yeah, Storm Demon, 16. I think it was mostly, if not completely, that one Storm Demon. So yeah, people talk a lot about these Storm Demons being really good blood summons. And you can see why. So let's take a look. So yeah, that didn't work out. I mean, you know, he got some kills, cleared some stuff out, mostly just, you know, garbage that Talanka probably doesn't really care about. So yeah, and I mean, considering, you know, it's a lot of golems, a lot of gems to summon a golem, and then, you know, that was a lot of gear on that golem. So that definitely hurts for her. That raid did not work out. All right, so let's see here. That covers that. And I forget if this is... Oh, yes. I remember this. This is our other Spectre, who's, you know, still going for it with his gear, right? This is the much higher spellcasting encumbrance. But he's not up against too much. You know, I mean, some militia, yeah. This light infantry is, you know, not great. It, you know, can throw a javelin. They do have a spear, but it's not a lance. So they don't get like that bonus like first strike damage. You know, their skills are okay. They're just human. They have like almost no protection. Like, yeah, light infantry is not scary. Heavy infantry can be a little scary, but I mean, there's 3 of them. So, and this guy, you know, he's ethereal. He's got like this really nice armor. He's gonna do some casting. He's gonna make some skeletons to help himself out. I don't remember if I changed this script. Okay, yeah. So he just does the one. He doesn't even fall asleep. He just, you know, is pretty fatigued out, which definitely does hurt your attack and defense. Which is not fantastic in the first place. Some of that is, you can see, like, yeah, if you have really heavy armor, it reduces your defense. I don't think it reduces your attack. Yeah, interestingly, it doesn't reduce your attack. But yeah, definitely against these guys. Now, that said, like, the lance charge from the heavies should get soaked by these skeletons, so that's good news. And like I said, most of this stuff is like not really that scary. So, you know, I mean, he's ethereal, so, and these guys just have mundane weapons. So 75% of attacks shouldn't matter. But some of them definitely do get through, and, you know, this armor is like pretty good protection. But he doesn't have a helmet. Really makes a difference, right? Because, like, you look at this and it's like protection 20, but body. And no helmet, so overall protection only 16. I'm not sure if one of those hits was in the head. Hopefully not. Head hits can be pretty nasty. But yeah, he's stacking up hits here. He's got an affliction. He lost an eye, so one of them very well may have been in the head. I'm not sure if the afflictions are tied to the body part location. Maybe. Because, you know, certainly you can like lose an arm, and I've seen like in the battle log, the individual body parts have like a certain amount, like a maximum amount of like health total. So sometimes it'll say it's like, oh, you know, damage exceeded for, you know, the part, and then that, you know, target lost an arm or something like that. So it could have been a head hit. Regardless, he lost one of his eyes, and he's like, F this, my gearing sucks. Now he has battle fright, so he's lost his faith in me, which, you know, fair enough. But he's quite slow getting off the battlefield, and yeah, light cavalry is not very good, but it is very fast. So yeah, that was embarrassing. So, you know, specters definitely can work as raiders, but you know, you do have to pay attention to their gear. I would say you need to be careful what you run them into, but I mean, I think a properly geared specter definitely could have taken that province, but that one didn't. So yeah, one-winged monkey. Not sure where those are coming from. But anyway, so yeah, lost that one. And there was a battle at the fortress that we have been sieging for Macon. This is our vine ogres, our like reduced army, you know, that ate a bunch of the shadow blasts. So we sent the gargoyles home to heal. Everybody else, though, you know, get back to work. And there's not a whole lot in here. So there is a communion going down, yeah, and, you know, yeah, mccone, of course. So we have like a group of vine ogres in here that are they're not getting any buffs, right? These guys are hanging out for their strength of giants and weapons of sharpness and all that like good stuff, you know, with some of our warrior chiefs, just in case he's got any thugs or anything gross in there. It doesn't really look like he does. Although, to be honest, like, you know, even these hoplites are kind of nasty. I'm not sure. I think our vine ogres should be able to punch through, especially with all their, these guys will probably struggle because they have no buffs. But yeah, I think these guys with all the buffs should be able to punch through. But anyway, sending these guys in first to make sure that we breach the gap, hopefully. I mean, you know, it's never a guarantee, but Vine Ogres are actually, okay, they're not that fast. They're not slow, though. I just find that, like, yeah, if you can push, like, something through this gap, it just makes it much easier for the rest of your army, you know, to get in. So, you know, we've seen, like, Helheim do that, like, with his Sacreds, his Elven Cavalry that are super fast. They're definitely better for that job than Vine Ogres. But, you know, Vine Ogres set to attack immediately all the way in the front of the deployment zone. Like, you can see they made it in. Now, I mean, granted, Macon didn't have a whole lot here to contest that with. But, yeah, I do think that is a consideration. You know, we're dropping Hell. I think that's us dropping Hell. Yeah. Probably overkill, but I mean, this is enough stuff here that, like, yeah, you know, our army is just going through its paces. I didn't know what was in here. I suspected that there wasn't a whole lot. But yeah, I mean, you know, you never know. So we were set to cast all the spells. Looks like mostly he's been dropping, like, body ethereal on everybody. Yeah. Which is good because we don't have a lot of magic weapons, so dang it. But our chiefs, once they get up with their swords, you know, should be able to do it. And then, you know, it's purely like numbers, I think, you know, should handle it. We've got our attack rear going on here for the most part. There are a few ogres, I think, that I set to attack closest, so they're going to head up to the walls to try to deal with those guys. So that, I'm not sure if we've seen that. Yeah, actually, I think we have, from Macon. So some Phoenix Pyre. So when that caster dies, he should pop up here somewhere else on the field, but he didn't. If you're over 100 fatigue, so you're immortal as long as your fatigue is below 100. And then I think you stack quite a bit of fatigue when you die. The description of the spell says that dying is quite fatiguing. I think it's like 40 fatigue. I forget the exact amount, but it's significant. So, you know, getting multiple uses out of Phoenix Pyre usually requires some planning. Definitely doable. But yeah, I think in this case, he was probably already over 100 just from his casting, you know, and he's hoping that he would tick down. Again, another reason to, you know, throw guys in as quickly as possible. And I believe that's why he didn't show up again. And yeah, some of the sages here, I think that's the master. Yeah, the only one. These poor guys. Oh, wait, no, there's a master here. Okay, so just one of them bailed. But yeah, so we got some wolves coming in. You can see, like, I mean, even the wolves, like, okay, you know, right, these guys are ethereal and lucky. Did you get luck on all of them? Wow, that's a very lucky wolf that managed to kill that sage. But, you know, I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, these, you know, dudes in robes with their fists. So, you know, yeah, you know, he's just trying to make it as difficult as possible for me. Certainly, like, you know, if we hadn't cleaned out the walls and he's throwing those discuses at us while we're trying to clear these guys out, you know, with their luck and their ethereal, like, yeah, you know, the longer you can hang out, the more likely you are to stack damage. But yeah, I think, you know, it's a foregone conclusion, just a question of how long. You never know. It is always a little scary, you know, how, like, stack a bunch of wolves around, especially, like, in somebody like this guy, yeah, with his luck and his ethereal and his protection, and if he just gets surrounded by wolves. Luckily, he's killy enough that he'll kill wolves, so, like, probably eventually, like, somebody will make contact, like, yeah, there's a chief in there. You can see that, yep, the chief does not, yeah. He's killed Jarls, probably, so these guys, no problem. So yeah, that went pretty well, but there wasn't a whole lot against us. Somehow we lost an Antlered Shaman? How the heck did we lose an Antlered Shaman? Wow, that's embarrassing. We found some research items. I usually like to pull research items off of mages and forts, but, I mean, you know, Macon is, like, he's in trouble here. He's getting 2v1, it's late in the game. He's been, you know, fighting him forever. So, but again, like, he may not be right. It's like, yeah, make sure that, you know, he messes with me. But it's like bothering to pull off all the research items is like, eh. So, but yeah, it is something to consider, right? Because it's like, if you don't pull your research items off your mages, all right, and when they die, then the enemy has a chance to find them, and, you know, you're just handing your enemy, like, free research. So certainly, like, in a, you know, closer battle or a war that, you know, you feel like you might win, but for whatever reason your research park is getting stormed, definitely worth, you know, taking those off. How the heck? And yeah, I mean, so he lost everything. That's not surprising. It's probably just like, yeah, one of these guys who just like, I mean, okay, it's not even gonna. They're pretty. Was that him? Did he just die right there? I missed it. Hang on. Let's see. Commanders, what is going on here? Yep. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, they may look ridiculous, but you get hit with a bronze discus, you know, thrown by a giant in his underwear or, you know, gym clothes. I guess hopefully you don't go to the gym like that. That'll do it. So, yeah, definitely, you know, a reason I think in that case, you know, if I'd back positioned that shaman a little more, that's another, dude, our hero is just the luckiest son of a gun. Because I'm pretty sure our hero is in here, right? Where is he? So this is the guy I think that gets taken out. Where's the hero? Is he? Oh God, is he up here? No. Okay. Whew. Maybe we didn't send our hero into this one. Who's the guy that did Hal then? Hang on. Sorry. Indulge me here for a moment. Let's see. So we have 2 antlered shamans. So it must have been the one that. Oh wait, no. Here's our hero right here. Where is he? Because, yeah, I mean, he's just been dodging bullets left and right. Like, this could have been him again. So, anyway, yeah, I definitely should have back positioned. Like, this guy, I think, is going to be doing Maws of the Earth to try to help clear out the walls, which is like, yeah, I mean, maybe not worth it. But, yeah, certainly, like, this guy, he was probably just set to do buffs. Could have back positioned, like, this whole group, really, to keep him safe. Okay, so, yeah, so he at least did back position our hero a little more. Probably could have gotten him a little farther back. It is a little dangerous having him all the way in the back because, you know, people do like to mess with, you know, with you with flyers. So if he's the guy all the way in the back, that's what the flyers are going to hit. But yeah, could have back positioned these guys that are getting buffed. I mean, you know, it does take them longer to get through the gate if they're even farther, you know, back position. But again, we had the guys going in right away to try to help, you know, keep the gap open. Anyway, yeah, sieges, they can be a little rough, but yeah, that hurts to lose that. Anyway, mostly a successful assault, and our hero is a lucky son of a gun. And then let's see, we have one more battle here between and Lanka. Yeah, also a castle assault, and not a whole lot in here from Lanka, just, you know, the usual mix of like some living Markata, some dead Markata, some ghosts, and let's see, this is just a regular commander, and then yeah, some of these casters, yoginis, yeah, and then this guy, just blood 1, and 1 blood slave. So yeah, this doesn't look like a whole lot, you know, and some of these, I think these blood summons, and yeah, he's preparing to cast mass flight. And I think we've seen these guys before, usually as like PD, but yeah, you can just recruit them out of caves. So yeah, mass protection, and then there's gonna be mass flight coming down, right? So these guys all got, you know, bark skinned. So I mean, you know, their armor, their furs don't provide too much, but 14 is respectable. That's the same as our the Steel Maidens, you know, so which don't have the best protection, but, you know, not bad protection. So these guys are set to fire, which I'm assuming is why they're not flying yet, because, you know, with mass flight, like, yeah, all these guys should be able to fly. Really probably should have set these guys not to fire, but, you know, the javelins are nice, definitely, but I mean, a castle assault, especially if you're trying to use like mass flight, it's probably better to just get them flying around. But anyway, yeah, definitely like mass flight is really useful for castle assaults. Oh yeah, and then of course that is one way to fix Gelatinous Cube's combat speed problems. That's kind of terrifying that, you know, these cubes can just fly around. I mean, they're not really flying here because, you know, they've already gotten in the back and probably eaten some Markata, so, you know, they're pretty content. But yep, there goes one. You know, he's looking for more Markata. So yeah, that's terrifying. Definitely one way, you know, to get some better use out of the gelatinous cubes, because I feel like usually, you know, when we've been seeing them, they just usually don't even get into combat. So anyway, yeah, Lanka didn't really have time to, if they had anything planned, the plan went into a cube. So yeah, we had some unexpected events, bought some gems on the cheap, and then this one sucks, but lost a lot of population in one of the provinces that we just recently got from Macon. That's a huge amount of population. Let's see here, worldwide event. Evocation rituals are cheaper. Not a ton of evocation rituals, I think. A few, but we're not really planning on taking advantage of this. Vanheim got attacked by an ice druid and his entourage, and I was able to win actually against decent PD. So sometimes an ice druid attacks. And then we lost a scout, we lost another scout, and then we caught a couple scouts. So our patrollers actually starting to kick in now, which is nice. We finished construction of one of our palisades. The fort that we locked down, we can't actually breach because it was just a raiding party. Cured an affliction, which is nice. Our healer doing work, and our patrollers also getting rid of troublemakers. And then, more diseases. That's probably going to continue for a little while longer here. So what are we up to this turn? So, finishing our war here against Macon mostly. This is really the last fort that we're looking to take. The plan was to Hinnom has, done a ton of work fighting against Macon, and I'm really looking to, maintain some friendly relations. There's still lots of big people in this game. Helheim, Vanheim. There's a lot of people that could eat me, so I would rather just have a friendly northern border, and it just seems more polite and respectful considering how long he's been fighting this war to at least give him another crack at the capital. And so I think I've discussed this, but the territory north of the border, north of the river, which is a convenient border anyway, really. Now that said, with our Dominion, if we got our Dominion on both sides of this river, we could freeze it. So, that is one thing. If you have cold Dominion, rivers are much less of a barrier versus if you have heat Dominion. So certainly we could make a press for it, but I'm probably not going to win this game anyway. So really just looking to be respectful here, not looking to be cutthroat, probably not cutthroat enough for Dominions. I need to work on that. But yeah, so are pushing some scouts up. Not cutthroat, but at the same time, we do need to take Macon out. I do not want to give him the chance to build up. Certainly, if give this player an inch, he will take a heck of a lot more than an inch in return. We've been in contact with Hinnom, and he says that he has an army, prepped and moving. Not actually seeing it yet, though. So headed out to try to see what is going on. Hopefully, it's nearby. Moving the remainder of our forces, I think our gargoyles are healed up, so bringing our god back in, because this fort, while I think it did get somewhat depopulated in this major battle on this province here, this may still have more stuff in it. Certainly it's had at least one turn of recruitment that it could have gotten in, and he may not have stripped everything out of it. Just sneaking our specter, our properly geared specter in to this province where our other specter failed us. Only sneaking because I am a little bit worried. Talanka has a lot of stuff here, and could we've seen him and Macon fight. He could send this out to try to capture this. He could attack me. I did just attack Talanka. I haven't contacted the Talankan player, and this sort of vulturing is pretty normal. But nobody appreciates, having their, provinces be attacked. And he may not even be aware that I didn't end up with it, right? That ended up taking it anyway. Because, he doesn't have vision on it anymore. So as far as he can see, it's I just, yoinked one of his provinces. Which, I'm sure he doesn't. And it wouldn't have mattered. He wouldn't have been able to draw income off of it. But, especially, I feel like once a player gets down to it, it's, kind of all bets are off. It really depends on the player in terms of, how they act. And our thug is good, but, 120 units, some of these lizard warriors, they hit really hard. So that could be pretty dangerous. So anyway, just sneaking them in. We're not in a rush here. Macon is not going to be able to contest it. If Talanka does attack out, like, that's fine. You know, we can beat this, no problem. Just not with our raider. So yeah, talked a little bit with you know, he just pointed out that, I mean, he didn't apologize, but he wasn't intending on bumping, you know, but it was like, yeah, well, you tried to vulture and you failed, so that's what happens. Yep, no hard feelings there. But that said, so we are planning on starting a fort construction here, and we're moving over. Let's see, what are we moving over? Yeah, well, just a covering force really, and then some site. This guy's probably a site searcher, and then yeah, trying to keep you know, an earth 4 that can do weapons of sharpness like on our gargoyles at all times, because you know, just in case they get hit, like we do want at least minimal mage support available for them. We have a nap with not expecting there to be any hostilities, but you know, I think it's always a good idea to cover fort construction anyway. You know, we have misfortune, so you never know when barbarians are going to show up. And you know, we'll still be relatively close, right, to support our other siege. This will drain our forces a little bit from our other border, but anyway, I mean, Helheim is pretty busy. Haven't really caught any battles this turn in that ongoing war, but you know, I mean, he's got at least 2-3 players that he's fighting, so not really expecting him to just jump into a war with us yet, so not too worried on that end. And then yeah, expecting Hinnom to move in and prevent Macon from, you know, pushing into our other territory. So yeah, that is the main thing. Moving to take out this fort, and then moving to cover our fort construction here. And then we're upgrading this palisade that just finished. So yeah, this is a really nice province. Now that we found, you know, these gem deposits here and good population, definitely happy about having this fort. And you know, we've got some patrollers up. I think the rest of this is mostly just, you know, like site searchers moving around, like still trying to get in, just, you know, a little more site searching here and there. Pushing the scouts around. I haven't really caught anything too interesting other than what we've discussed. But yeah, in terms of research, so let's see here. We just got Conjuration 7, so we can do Wraith Lords now. However, so let's see, but we're still doing we're doing one last Spectre, it looks like. Let's just double check. It is Conjuration 7, right? I'm not crazy. Okay. Yeah, it is. So the problem here, and possibly this is a reason, although this would be a bad reason, I may just want another Earth Cross. Not sure why I'm summoning this last Spectre here, to be honest. We don't have the paths, so we have the research for our guy here, our Wraith Lords, but we need Death 5, which we absolutely do not have, and we can't really easily get it either. So this guy's just Death 2. I mean, he's 3 with the staff. It's possible that a Spectre randoms 3 death, and then if we give him the staff, he'll be Death 4, which is still not enough. So we're pretty much looking at empowerment here at this point. There are some other boosters that, you know, can boost death. There's one that only requires death paths, but it's pretty high death, which we also don't have. Like, it's high enough death that I think it's basically, if you can forge it, then, I mean, it can't boost you from where we're at. It could boost you even higher into death, but yeah, we can't. In fact, you know what? Let's take a look instead of just talking in generalities. Yep, Skullface. It sounds really expensive. But yeah, you need Death 5 and 40 Death Gems. We don't have Death 5. Death 5 is what we need. So anyway, there are other ways to wriggle, but we probably are just going to empower. You know, our death income is pretty good, so you know, I don't think we would want to empower this guy, right? Because we'd have to empower him like 2 times. Not good. But what we could cast and should cast is, I think we actually already could have probably set this up a little bit better. That said, I mean, you know, Specters are nice. We've seen them be very useful, and a little more astral would be nice. Some astral earth cross, which I don't think we've actually got. That's probably what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Ooh. Oh yeah, right. This guy didn't get astral, so he's got earth. So anyway, you can get the astral earth cross path, which just allows for some cool forging opportunities. But it's sort of just roll the dice. So yeah, just rolling the dice at least one more time, maybe a couple more times. Again, it's not like specters are bad, but definitely do want to start to get the Wraith Lords going. So yeah, but Earth Astral would be really nice to pick up. And while Wraith Lords are cool, there's no possibility for Earth Astral from them. But in terms of actually getting a hold of them, they're also not really going to help us yet because it's going to take us a few turns. Empowering is not cheap. So, we're still at war, so it's like specters, I can do right now. It's going to be extra strength, possibly, like right off the bat. Not that I think we need it in this case against Macon, but it is a thought. But anyway, this guy. Summon Mound Fiend. Also not cheap, but he is guaranteed to be a Death 3. Mage, and he requires Death 3 to cast. So we can summon him, and he'll get us one more path up in Death. And then we empower him once, give him the staff, and we're off to the races with a Death 5. But again, that's going to be kind of expensive. Would like to get that Astral Earth cross path from the Spectre. Don't hate having more Specters around. Don't have an emergency need for Wraith Lords yet. So yeah, rolling the dice a few more times, but yeah, definitely looking to get over to Wraith Lords sooner rather than later. Doing a little more arcane probing, a few more patrollers, just our normal stuff. In terms of future research, I think we've switched things up a little bit. So we've decided to sneak Evocation 5 in, which provides us some things. So Falling Fires is a good spell that some of our mages can cast, though not super easily. Some of them can. Our Fire 2 guys can. And Falling Frost is also really nice. That one's actually a little harder for us to cast, but definitely still possible. Very few guys that can Orb Lightning, but it's a good spell. Shadow Blast. Definitely have some guys that can cast that, and we're well familiar with how effective that can be. So yeah, and then also Earthquake is not impossible for us to do. It's a little tricky because it's a wipe. It's the Earth wipe. It's maybe not as, I don't know. It's different than a lot of the other wipes. A lot of the other wipes, kind of deal just continuous damage over the course of the battle, right? As long as the caster is up, right? So Foul Vapors. As long as the Foul Vapors caster is up, the effect continues, and poison damage, continues to stack on to units, just sort of randomly. With Earthquake, it's all front-loaded, right? When the cast goes off, you take the 8 damage plus the random roll, and then that's it, right? Then it's done. But it's the whole battlefield, as long as you're not flying or floating. And 8 damage is not a lot, especially because it's just armor piercing, which is good, right? But it's right, if you're heavily armored, that can help. And then also defense negates, so really high defense units, I guess, can dodge an Earthquake. I'm not really sure how that works. Maybe they're not familiar with how earthquakes work, but anyway, magic. So yeah, it can be kind of hard. 8 damage is not that much, right? So it's pretty good against humans, and we're humans, so it's kind of hard for Olm to use sometimes because, our guy that's casting it oftentimes is going to be a human. We could summon in a Troll King, would be better caster for it. They have a lot more health. You can put some flying shoes on your guys. There's definitely things you can do. But yeah, 8 damage is not that much. However, you can stack multiple castings of Earthquake together. And that starts to get expensive. But yeah, Earthquake definitely can be a really nasty wipe. And it is something we can do, and not necessarily something people expect out of early age Olm, or really any Olm probably. So yeah, having that in the back pocket, and then just some Falling Fires and Falling Frost, not the worst thing. A little bit of Shadow Blast, a little more direct damage that our mages can do would be nice. And also, it's not that much research. Let's see, how much is it? Yeah, I mean, we're already almost done with it. So, we finished, this is just from the leftover research, right, after we finished Conjuration 7. And, we'll finish it, like, next turn. So it doesn't delay us too much. So, anyway, don't hate it. After we have a lot of different research stuff. So, Enchantment 6. This one, I don't know. Enchantment 7 is cool. So Serpent's Blessing is really nice. That's kind of like the Foul Vapors counter. It just gives everybody, poison resistance 10. It's not a perfect counter, but yeah, I mean, helps a lot. And we're probably not going to face off, against Serpent's Blessing from Vanheim or Helheim, but it's late enough where anything is possible. Actually can do this quite easily, they can do this quite easily as well, but Foul Vapors is no problem for them. So anyway, it's gone late enough that, getting this, now, we're just going for 6, but, it'll get us at least closer to 7. And so at 6, Relief is really nice. So that is just a battlefield-wide fatigue reduction, which can be really good against like Rigor Mortis, which is right next door, which just puts everybody to sleep basically, unless you're undead or inanimate. And now we have a lot of inanimates, so not so much of an issue for us, but still, this is something we can cast with a little difficulty. But nice to have. And then there's also Arrow Fend, which can help against like projectiles, not just arrows, like magical projectiles too. Just gives everybody air shield. It's kind of the spell that just ruins archers. So having that in the back pocket is not a bad thing. But and then we've talked about the statues before. There are some globals, like Riches from Beneath is here, but obviously, like, I think Helheim has that right now. A couple people have cast it. So, and it's a lot of earth gems that we don't have. So yeah, in retrospect, not really sure about this choice. There are some decent spells in here for sure, and it's working our way up to some places that we do want to get to, but it doesn't really feel like I need it right now, so this feels like a bit of a mistake. But anyway, and that's what's queued. And then speaking of mistakes, Thaumaturgy, really good for Astral Nations, which we definitely are not. I do have a few Astral Casters now. So yeah, 5 is nice because it gets us Soul Slay. And yeah, that's it gives us a few other things. Gift of Reason can be fun. That you can turn a unit into a commander. Mostly not useful. It's kind of expensive, but some of like the summoned units actually have like magic paths, like hidden magic paths, and sometimes they can be paths that your nation doesn't have. So that can definitely be a reason, to grab this. I don't really think Ulm doesn't really have a lot of like interesting national summons. In fact, I think it's just the bears. They can summon some bears, and they're just regular bears. They don't have any hidden magic paths. So anyway, there are some cool spells in here. Gateway is nice, if we had more Astral Casters, which we don't really. So yeah, this is another one. It does give us, 4 will give us the remote site search spells. So Gnome Lore is for Earth, Auspex is for Air, and I think it's just those 2 at this level. So, it's not like there aren't useful spells here, and certainly like Soul Slay is nice, even though we can deploy it in just really, really limited quantities right now. Now, we will be getting Crystal Amazons here, because we just captured, So, we will start building up, these Crystal Amazons, hopefully, assuming it doesn't all go wrong, because we're going to be recruiting these every turn. And Soul Slay is a really effective counter thug spell. So, while it's not very useful for us right now, hopefully it will be more useful for us. And again, in terms of expense, like, we'll finish this out. We'll finish out 4. We'll get up to level 4 next turn, or not next turn, sorry, because we got a couple other things in the way. But if this was next up, we would just, get it as a matter of course after finishing off our evocation research. So, I mean, this is probably like a turn or maybe 2 of research, so it's not going to delay us too much, but probably should have prioritized these guys a little more, because once you hit, like, Soul Slay is good, but not really necessarily game changing unless you have an immediate emergency where you have like maybe a super combatant or a thug where it's like, shoot, I can't kill this at all, but Soul Slay could. Then it's like, sure, absolutely, take a detour. But I mean, we got the great swords. We got we have ways, at least so far, that have been working. Maybe not the best, but working. So taking this detour, it's like, yeah, it's only a turn or 2, but it's turn 66, right? Yep, turn 66. So I mean, we are, this is end game times. They're late mid game, people argue, but anyway, it's getting up there. So we don't have a ton of turns left, and once you like, level 9 spells are kind of game changing. So I think maybe taking too many detours here in retrospect. Not that they don't. Well, okay, Enchantment 6 is a little hard to defend. But anyway, not that these don't have use, but so what's at 9? Why would we run to Alteration 9? Good old Army of Fu, they call it. So 2 spells, Army of Gold and Army of Lead, and it's battlefield wide earth spells, and it's just natural protection 20 for everybody. Now, with Army of Gold, you get fire resistance, but you take additional damage from lightning, so there is a downside. And then Army of Lead, let's see, what is it? You get more magic resistance, but also, more damage from lightning. So the damage from lightning is going to hurt, because definitely some air magic out there on our borders. But for our human troops, like, this is huge. This just, would boost the Steel Maiden's protection, and hugely. And also, for our mages would be really nice. Now, I mean, our mages can get up to this casting Iron Skin on themselves, so they don't strictly need this. But if you have one mage that's casting this, and now the rest of your mages don't have to worry about that, that frees up a slot, right? It's less fatigue that they have to deal with. So it's really nice, even for the guys that can get this on themselves. So yeah, looking at these 2, not that there aren't other cool things. I mean, it's just, we can't really, like, these guys, nope, that's not going to happen for us this game. A lot of this end game stuff, right? You got a plan. You got a plan all the way when you design your pretender. They're like around certain spells, and I'm going to do a certain thing. And I didn't, I designed my pretender to help me survive the early game, so I could see the late game. So that mostly kind of worked. And 8 has got some cool stuff too on the way to 9. Wizard's Tower is just like a insta fort. It's pretty expensive, but insta fort. It's not quite as good as regular forts in terms of like recruitment. But I think the walls are actually significantly better than the walls of the forts we can just build nice and slow. At this point of the game, like, we probably have enough forts that we can recruit troops out of. And this can be really useful if you're, maybe capturing a throne, or, actually, usually you want there's a spell that can break walls down, which is probably a little bit more useful, but you never know when you're going to need a fort in a spot. So that's a nice thing to have. Now, I mean, you do need to have a reserve of earth gems, which I am not good at keeping around, but anyway, useful spell. Ground Army is really nice, just shock resistance +5 for everybody. I mean, +5 is not nearly enough to stop, all the thunder and lightning from hurting a lot. But every little bit definitely helps, so that's great. And then a couple other, like, just all the elemental damage, like mass resistance spells, and we can cast like most of these. Definitely Ground Army. We should be able to work our way like into these other ones, so, and these are like really almost kind of required for some of the wipes. I mean, I don't know. There's other ways you can, we've been trying to summon, say, like wyverns, right? So you can just get units that are naturally resistant, or use your sacreds, if you have a bless that has elemental resistances on them. But if you're walking into some of the wipes and you don't have some way to get at least a little bit of resistance on your troops, that really hurts. So, you know, having these is really nice. Will of the Fates is going to be great on our human troops, not on our summons, but this is just luck for the whole battlefield. So, I mean, you know, we know how good luck can be. So anyway, yeah, just Alteration is a really solid school, and, you know, for the astral stuff, we should be able to wriggle our way into it now that we have those Amazons. And the earth stuff we can do, you know, with our earth boots and some of our, you know, earth 3 randoms and our god. So yeah, definitely I think Alteration 9 a worthy target, but yeah, maybe shouldn't have taken so many detours along the way, but you know, we'll see how it works out. So anyway, that's a lot of discussion on research, and I think that covers turn 66.